Welcome into another week of the A-List podcast. We are also in the postseason as the Celtics are. Sherrod Blakely, Gary Washburn. Welcome to another week.
Glad to be here. And glad to be that the A-List podcast family is expanding a little bit. Shout out to Indeed.com. We'll talk a little bit more about them later, but I'm glad to be here. Glad that we're rocking and rolling.
I thought somebody was having a baby or something.
That's what I was saying. I was like,
somebody pregnant? Kwani, you pregnant?
No. see, this is how stuff gets started, Kwani. See, I'm just saying.
No one on the pod is pregnant.
Okay.
I just got another sponsor, which
the A-List family is expanding.
We got another addition to our family. Like, come on, Sherrod.
Definitely not.
Okay.
But
this is why I hate Gary. You
know what? We love it because he brings the entertainment, and that's what the people want. But of course, we have to talk about what the Celtics brought to the TD Garden on Sunday afternoon, Easter Sunday.
That was entertaining.
Sunday, depending on how you call it. Jayson Tatum's game-winning shot. What was your reaction to that? Did you expect that? No timeouts called, just vibes by the Celtics.
I'm still kind of like in shock over just how that play developed. And also just the sequence before that, where they played great defense. Al Horford, low key with that blitzing of Kyrie was just really, really phenomenal. And getting the ball out of his hands, Jayson Tatum everyone did their jobs. And that's the thing about it. It was, I thought this season, they've had trust issues the Celtics have had. And I thought what we saw in that last sequence from defense to offense was just a complete night and day performance by a team that made the most of the moment. I mean, they needed so many things to go right and so many people to do their jobs in order to get that win in that moment. And that's exactly what happened. So kudos to all of them. And shout out to Ime for actually having a wherewithal to say, you know what? Yeah. We're not going to call a timeout so they can get set up. We are going to attack a bad team defensively and not give them a chance to set up and be better. And that's exactly what they did. Because at the end of the day, you saw Kyrie sleeping at the wheel. You saw KD sleeping at the wheel. And Tatum wisely getting maybe the easiest shot he had all game, layup, and it mattered most.
I thought that the play was indicative of how much the trust has increased this year. And I just thought that it was a good basketball play, and it took advantage of the Nets slipping on defense. I mean, let's be honest, like Tatum admitted it. I think everyone thought that Marcus was going to make, if not take a three, he was going to drive for a floater, one of those floaters, to try to win it. And then he found Tatum. I thought it was heads up of Tatum to cut to the hoop. Durant got caught ball watching. And, Durant's a solid defender, can definitely affect the game with his size. But like a lot of people, he stood there and watched. Like Bruce Brown and Claxton chased Marcus. Brown leaped in the air. And then that allowed Marcus to drive right through them, find Tatum straight for the basket. And here's the thing. I'd have been fascinated to ask or to think, if Tatum misses the layup, do they call a foul on Irving? Because Irving reached out
did foul him.
And kind of touched him. Now, let's say Tatum misses that layup. Do the officials in that time do the whole he missed it, so we're going to call a foul? But obviously it's a game winner, so they were like, we off the hook. But do they call a foul on Irving for the contact? I'd have been interested.
I don't think they would.
But
I don't think they would have.
I don't think so either.
I think they would have, because they know he
really.
Yes, I thought they might have called a foul on that. Because Kyrie did not try to defend; he tried to kind of
catch up.
He made contact.
Yeah,
but to me, I thought it was just indicative of the way they rallied. Down 107, 102, and if Dragic hits that corner three, then it's probably lights out. He misses it, and Dragic has killed the Celtics over the years, but on that one he missed, and then Jalen comes back with a three, then it goes back and forth. And I just thought the Celtics poised down the stretch was admirable, considering the moment, considering they easily could have lost that game.
Yeah.
And that shifts a lot of the momentum and the confidence in the series. Not to say Brooklyn doesn't have confidence. I'm sure Brooklyn feels we should have won game one, we'll win game two. But I also think the Celtics finally got over the hump of like, okay, we've heard about the Nets for the last 10 days. They're a behemoth. Irving and Durant, oh my God, they're so good. They're no normal 7 seed. They still can win a title. It's Ben Simmons coming back. All that, and you win the first game. I think that was a load off for the Celtics.
In clutch form too, at that. But I think that just makes the series even more compelling than it was to begin with. And another big storyline, as you both know, was Kyrie Irving. He was actually fined by the NBA $50,000 for his obscene gestures. That's the way they kindly put it, but it was the middle fingers that he put up at fans, the curse words that he, I would say, relayed back to fans that were saying things to him that he wasn't too fond of. What do you guys think Kyrie needs to do in game 2, if he will at all, to maybe avoid another fine?
Go on, Gary. That's your boy.
I mean, I think Kyrie's just going to be Kyrie. I think at this point, he understands he's the villain. He's embraced that, and he has no problem with that situation. So I think if you're Kyrie Irving, you just play the game. And I think that some Boston fans, I'm not going to say all, because, I heard Kyrie sucks, but I didn't hear a lot of FU. Like, I didn't hear that where we were sitting. Okay. Now, right behind him, I'm sure there were some things said. I just think the fans are going to be the fans, and not all of them are the same. And it's a 7:00 start, so someone will be nice and juiced up. I just think, honestly, guys, let's just let this go. I mean, let him play. The Celtics have moved on. They have 2 new superstars. They're the 2nd seed. Like, it didn't work out. Okay, it was not the way it's supposed to be. All of that. He's a villain. Boo him every time he touches the ball. Say he sucks. After that, let it go. No nasty talk, no expletives, no stuff you wouldn't say in front of your own children. Just let's move forward. Because I'm just like, this topic and the Kyrie against the Celtics, this is getting tired. Like, to me, I mean, he's a magnificent player. Obviously, he's a handful to deal with. It just didn't work out in Boston. Much of it, all of it, not his fault, but much of it was, yes. He doesn't want to admit it. He's not going to admit it. You're not going to get him to admit it. Okay, booing him is not going to get this. You know what? I really did y'all wrong. Like, he's not going to say that. Okay, he's going to say it wasn't right. I didn't feel right. And this is what happened. See, that's why I didn't want to play here. All of the ammunition you're giving him, he's going to use it against you. So let's just move on. Play game 2. Play the rest of the series. And shut Kyrie up if you want the Celtics by playing well and eliminating him from the playoffs. Other than that, I want to see Kyrie ball. I want to see the Celtics ball. I want to see good basketball. I'm tired of all the Kyrie stuff. Like, we did this last year. Let's move on.
We can't do this every year.
No. And I guess that for me is really the moral of the story. Just play ball and win the damn game. That you don't need, when fans are saying all this, that, and the other to you, Kyrie, just play the game and win. That's the ultimate silencer. When you Bill Russell had talked about this a few years ago about just being a part of the Boston Celtics organization and how there's a distinction between being part of the organization and the fan base in Boston, and how he was able to embrace the organization, but the fan base, even at home, was not hospitable to him. And he used that energy to just play better. Yes, it angered him. Yes, it frustrated him. But at the end of the day, he had a job to do. And that job was to be the best basketball player he could possibly be. And that negative energy that they fed him, he used that to be better. And if I'm Kyrie Irving, as brilliantly gifted as you are, with no added incentive or edge added to that, you need to use that and use it. And I thought for the most part, he did that in game 1. But the behind the head stuff and, fan says you suck, and then he replies, suck, blah, blah, blah. That's unnecessary. Kyrie needs to be better than that. And that, to me, is what this always comes back to. Being better than those who are coming at you, and accountability. As Gary pointed out, he's never going to say that I was part of the problem, even though he was a big-ass part of the problem. why things didn't work out. That lack of accountability is why a lot of Celtics fans can't let this go as easily as they could with some other folks who've left. Because I think fans understand that, yeah, maybe we did have a part and a role in this, but damn it, so did you. And the fact that you can't even acknowledge that, that's a problem.
And to your point, he was, like you said, he channeled that energy into 39 points on 12 for 20 shooting. So clearly it did help him. But to your point, I don't agree with either side, honestly. I look at the fans that decided to purposely record him while saying he sucked in order to gauge a response. And of course, he acted irrationally in the sense of even replying to them. I don't think he
fell for the bait.
He did.
He fell for the bait.
Yeah. And 50,000 may just be chump change to him, but
it is.
I don't know. I just don't see it as worth talking to them. Just keep channeling the energy into basketball and scoring and doing, shutting them up that way. But
yeah.
And I guess we should maybe talk about Durant's performance as well. He had a off game, so to speak, still dropping 23. But of course, he's still Kevin Durant, one of the greatest players in the world. So what would you all both like to see from KD in game 2?
I'd like to see the same thing I saw in game 1, to be honest and frank. That is for a completely selfish standpoint. That's not going to happen. He's going to be more aggressive. He's going to be looking for a shot more. I think he's going to be looking to really set the tone early in the game, whereas I thought in game 1, he was trying to make sure everyone else, kind of felt as though they were engaged.
He seemed a little frazzled in a sense.
Well, I think what happened for him was he saw things that he hadn't seen before from the Celtics. Like before, they're accustomed to just really crowding him and not letting him get space, but they weren't even letting him, get to damn near half court where he didn't see multiple bodies in his path. And so he's got to be smarter about swinging the ball and hopefully getting it back quickly. But the Celtics, they had a great defensive plan on how to really, frankly, minimize his impact while not letting Kyrie go loose, but they were more willing to let Kyrie beat them than Kevin Durant. And it'll be interesting to see how Kevin Durant tries to flip the script in game 2.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you can expect Durant to be more aggressive and to be better. Okay, he's not going to miss 15 shots. Okay, he's not going to go 9 for 24. He's going to hit some of those mid-rangers. He's not going to go 1 for 5 from 3. The thing is, the strategy is, if you look at the back when Brooklyn played at Atlanta and Durant scored 55, they lost the game, okay? And Kyrie played in that game too. Okay, so you can beat the Nets with Kevin Durant going off, okay? It can happen but you have to shore up other aspects.
Mm-hmm.
You got to expect that Durant's going to get his 30. And I believe he worked the refs to a point to where he's going to get early calls. Okay,
yep.
Because the aggression, some of the rip fouls, and not rip, but the rips, the strips of them, the loose ball stuff, the open turnover, the non-forced turnovers, where he just was stripped or whatever. They're going to call some of that probably, the bumping, that type of thing. Okay, coming off screens. So you have to expect, if you're the Celtics, that the officiating is going to be different and tighter for him. Okay. But you have to shore up other things. And if you can't let Kyrie go for 39. If Kevin goes for 39, Kyrie goes for 39, that's probably a win. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a problem. You can't let Goran Dragic go like 2017 Dragic and just, get free to the basket, hit jumpers. And you got to do something with Claxton. Claxton, I thought, was very effective in his minutes over Drummond. And I think one of the reasons the Nets rallied and stayed in the game was Drummond was in foul trouble, so Claxton played the entire second half, and they were a better team, more active team with Claxton on the floor. So you've got to shore up other things. Durant, you're not going to stop him. He's not going to go for 16 points, or you're not going to go 2 for 18. Even though you play the great aggressive defense on him, you are going to have to expect that he's going to be better. Okay, he's going to be focused. This is one of the great players of all time, top 75 player. Some people top 20 player all time, top 10, wherever you want to argue. Okay, you're going to have to expect that he's going to be better. Okay, is Kyrie going to go for 39? You would think not, but you also can't let Kyrie get loose. The problem with the Celtics game 1 is they let Kyrie get loose on threes. You do not want him hitting threes.
Right.
Take the twos. If he drives to the basket and makes the contested layup, that's fine. Take that. It's when he's pulling up for 28 and swish, that's a problem. Okay. Right. They have to cut Kyrie off on the 3-point line, cut those shots off, make him drive and take contact. And, hopefully if you're the Celtics, that limits his effectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
The final player that we should talk about before we move on to game 2 is, of course, the bigger storyline. I think maybe a little bigger than Tatum's clutch shot, but Marcus Smart is the 2021-2022 Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think that really comes to a surprise to either of you, but what was your reaction when you found out?
Happy for Marcus. Really, really happy for him. Happy for his family and his loved ones. It's funny because after the news came out, I texted Marcus and just congratulated him. And I mentioned how, we talked, we went back and forth a little bit about his mom and how she would be really pleased and grinning from ear to ear over this. And I wasn't able to get on the press conference, but I watched it on replay and I saw that the very first question from Gary Washburn was about that, which I thought was really cool. This is great for Marcus. I mean, it validates so much of what he has been about for so long in his career. It validates the growth that this team has had from where it began to where it's now. And it's a reminder that at the end of the day, you need dogs in order to win in this league, guys that are willing to get their fingers dirty and just really just be more than just a scorer, more than just your cookie cutter image of what NBA players are about. And Marcus has proven himself to be just that. And again, it's happy for him. Again, happy for him, happy for the team, because there is a team dynamic to winning an award like this. And it's just a good day for the Celtics all around when Marcus Smart gets this kind of recognition and acknowledgement.
And if we could add that he is the first guard to do so since Gary Payton did it in '96. I
was gonna leave that lane open for Gary Washburn since he spent some time out with Seattle. Since he spent some time in Seattle and Gary Payton in Seattle and Marcus, I was just trying to be like a good teammate and pastor.
Since little Kwani was in West Orange preschool.
Orange, get it right, Orange. West
Orange preschool.
With a sippy cup.
Yeah, putting blocks on, trying to tell them kids how to spell Kwani.
That's fair. That's good.
Because I know she had a tough time trying to get people to learn how to spell her name.
It's not a Q, guys. It's a K.
Yes. So I'm happy for Marcus. I think it's well earned, well deserved. I think that I think he's and guys like Mikal Bridges have helped change the mind of certain voters. And I honestly think this was a situation a year that people just are tired of Rudy Gobert. I just think when the Clippers exposed him and the Jazz couldn't play him during the playoffs last year because they went small and he couldn't run out and guard 3-point shooters. And then this year with Jazz blew a bunch of those leads. I think the voters, just from my estimation, were just like, you know what? He's won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Like, no, we're not giving a 4th one on that team. And I think Bridges is a guy who obviously could have won. But I think Smart, considering the Boston #1 defense in the league, he's the head of the snake, the heart and soul of the team, and has been one of the better defenders in the league for years now. 2 first-team All-Selections. I'm sure he'll get a 3rd this year because he won Defensive Player of the Year. He should get the first team All-Defense. I think the voters finally said, you know what, it's his time and his year. He's worked hard. It's just funny, Marcus, 28 years old now. I've always written and said it's not he's been in the Celtics for 12, 13 years, but it's only 8. But just a good, well-deserved award for a player who has been heavily criticized throughout his career in Boston. He takes too many shots. He makes too many boneheaded plays. He tries to do too much, but he has harnessed all that into becoming, a guy who is just an invaluable piece for the Celtics and is going to be key to their wherever they go this year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the big thing about Marcus is that, he symbolizes what it means to have a leader as part of a great team. And as we talked about earlier with our new friend of the family, Gary, friend of the family, Indeed.com. Exactly. New teammate, Indeed.com. And listen, they are a great teammate, and they are about helping you put together your great team. If you're hiring, you need Indeed, because Indeed is a hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. And Indeed is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applicants that meet your must-have requirements, or else you don't pay. You hear that, Gary? If you don't get what you want, you don't pay. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner, and that is Indeed. Indeed partners with you on every step of the hiring process, finding great talent through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, which is kind of fly. I kind of messed around with that a little bit. Nice tool that can save you time, money, and help you achieve what we all want to do when you're trying to hire somebody. Get the best candidate who's the best fit and do it in the least amount of time possible. And with that instant match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates with resumes that Indeed matches you with the job description. And you can invite them to apply right away. Plus, you only pay for quality applications that meet your must-have requirements. And on a personal note, I used Indeed today because one of my students has an interest in working in kind of the Olympic sphere, if you will. And Indeed, not only do they let you know about jobs, but also internships. So I immediately sent her this application for a job in Indianapolis working with USA Gymnastics, and she's going to apply for that internship that I would not have known anything about if it wasn't for Indeed.com. So they actually, I'm telling you, they're a good teammate to have without question. And again, Indeed makes it easy to hire great talent, and they are Indeed delivers 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined. So you're dealing with a baller in the game. Join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And if you start right now, you get a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/A-list. Indeed.com/A-list. Get your $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post, and that is valid through April 30th. So once again, Indeed.com/A-list. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, Indeed is where you need to be. Indeed.
Well, like you mentioned, Indeed is the teammate that we're glad to have. But game 2 is looming for the Celtics and the Nets. I want to know from you two. You've kind of set your expectations for some of the players, but who are you looking to stand out in the second game of the series?
You got it, Gary.
I need to see more. I thought Jaylen Brown was solid. I want to see him put more of an imprint on the game. He had nice 23 points, but there was times where he missed a couple bunnies at the rim. I didn't say he played a bad game, nothing like that, but I want to see imposing Jaylen Brown where he matches Tatum and both of them just become that 1-2 punch like Durant will with Kyrie, where I'm not saying you want to play tit for tat, but I just think they need to see more because you got all you're going to get. Great game from Al Horford. Tice got into foul trouble as kind of we expected. He's going to do what he does here and there. Not expecting a lot of points from him, but just defensive rebounding. The rest of the guys, as you said, Peyton had his moment, hit a 3 there. Grant, I thought, didn't have a great game at all. I thought Grant struggled. Some of his decision-making and some of the fouls. But Jaylen's a guy I think that has to be more of like all-star caliber Jaylen for them to pull out game 2 because it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough series. Brooklyn, if the Celtics had led by 15 and then pulled away to a 18-point win in game 1, then I think the whole tone of the series would be, wow, we can't play with these guys. We played our best and we lost by 18 but the fact that they probably, I wouldn't say should have won because they didn't make enough plays to win. They were one or two plays short, but the fact is they lost at the buzzer. The fact is Durant was 9 for 24. The fact is Patty Mills hit 1 shot. All of you can put all the reasons that Brooklyn should have won this game, and I'm sure they're taking all that as fuel and saying, if we're just a little bit better, we can snatch game 2, take home court advantage, go back to Brooklyn, and try to really take control of the series. So the Celtics are going to need their best game of the season to fight off the Nets, because this is the series they wanted, they asked for, and they got it.
I'm going to go with Marcus Smart. I just think Marcus Smart is going to have to really put his imprint on the game just like he did in game 1. He was not the best scorer. He wasn't the best rebounder. I don't even think he led him in assists. Believe that was Tatum. But there was an undeniable impact that he made on this game that you got to have that night in, night out. And to me, that's the beauty of where Marcus Smart is at right now. He has the ability to not just be an elite defender, which is why he got Defensive Player of the Year in the entire NBA. He can do other things. And we saw in the closing moments, Marcus Smart was at his absolute best at both ends of the floor. His defense in that final possession against Brooklyn was about as good as he played the defense individually in that game. And then to top it off, you go back down on the other end of the floor and you validate the trust that Ime Udoka put in you to be the playmaker for this team, to be the point guard, with maybe the best pass, the most impactful and important pass that he has made as a Celtic. Because I can't have imagined what would have happened if you'd have taken a forced shot and missed it, or did something, turn the ball over. But rather than any of those things happening, he made the best basketball play in that moment, and that was to get Jayson Tatum with probably his easiest shot of the night, a layup. And so, again, Marcus Smart, I think his imprint has to be significant going forward if they're going to continue to take control of this series.
And this game is going to start and end the podcast, pick and roll. Who is the matchup to win in game 2? Tatum and Durant versus Durant, Smart versus Irving, Jaylen Brown versus Bruce Brown, or do you have another one that you want to watch in this specific game?
I got one. The one I want to watch, I want to see Al Horford and Drummond. I think and here's why, because those guys are X factors that, depending on how they play, will go heavily towards determining who wins. Al Horford clearly outplayed Drummond, and to me, that was one of the main reasons why the Celtics were able to play with a lead for most of the game. Al's scoring, his rebounding, his defense. He was everything that Bruce Brown said that the Celtics weren't going to have at the defensive end of the floor. Al clearly took that to heart. So, again, that's the matchup I'm looking most forward to seeing.
I think I'm going to need to see Jaylen Brown on both sides of the ball against Bruce Brown. I'm expecting more offensively out of Bruce Brown. He took 19 shots. He took 19 shots in the play-in game against Cleveland, and he didn't have nearly as much. He hit a key corner three, but I need Jaylen to dominate that matchup, because as we saw, Bruce Brown cannot guard Jaylen in the post. Jaylen was able to take advantage of that.
Mouse in the house, too little.
I need to see monster Jaylen Brown. And obviously, first playoff game in 2 years, he had the bloody nose. So you can give him, that he wasn't quite himself because of a couple of factors, and also observing Ramadan, so afternoon game. But this is where the money is made, and I need to see a locked-in Jaylen Brown on both sides, dominating that matchup, and dwarfing that matchup, because you kind of think that Durant and Jayson will even each other out, perhaps. Kyrie is going to make his impact offensively. Marcus probably defensively.
Yeah.
They're not going to even each other in scoring, but they'll probably even each other in offensive / against defensive impact. So I think I need to see Jaylen just say, hey, you putting this dude on me? Okay, I'm going for 30.
Yeah. For flashy reasons, I'm looking forward to Tatum versus Durant, but we'll see what happens. Game 3 is coming up. This has been the A-List podcast. Thank you guys for helping us recap what happened in Game 1 for Sherrod Blakely. I'm Kwani A. Lunis, and that's Gary Washburn. We'll be back next week to recap what else goes on during the series.